All right. Hi, I'm Angel. Thanks for stopping by for part two of The Little Chicken. This is my very first reading ever, even to myself. I literally haven't even read back through this rough draft that's coming through me of a up-leveled version of the Chicken Little story. I'm pretty sure what it is. I've given a little back history now. There's an intro. There's a part one that I just finished reading. I'm loving it. I knew it was good the minute it started coming through me. And I just finished writing, I think, part two. I think that's done. And I had the impulse to read out loud to the camera what I have so far before I move forward to probably the third and final part, because it's part of my, what I call them, children's books for adults or something like that. But anyway, enough about all that. Let's dive right into part two of The Little Chicken. So in part one, Henrietta, our main character, has discovered that she has thoughts and feelings and can decide something for herself, and has taken up, twice tried running and fallen on her face or beak both times, and has had some unpleasant sensations as a result, but also has a new level of awareness and a new level of complex thinking and a new level of amazing in her life or in her experience. So that's caught you up to date. Now, without further ado, part two. Henrietta tries to find allies, is what I called it before I wrote it. It was the day before. I'm in Albuquerque, by the way. Lots of Albuquerque noises. Let's see. I had some random multi-dimensional technicolored notes here. Part two. Not very long after Henrietta realized that she had made a choice after the initial flood of the best feeling she had ever had and had washed over her, there came a very dark cloud over the little chicken. She felt a new level of despair, which sometimes began to lead her to a new thought, a less curious thought, a sort of inward reflection that at its core or root felt something like, I wished I had never discovered that I could think at all. I must be the only chicken in all of chickens or everywhere that has ever had this feeling. Only it didn't really have any words to it yet. It was just a very, very, very heavy, dark, low feeling. The little chicken felt hopelessly alone. Eventually, the little chicken got so low, she just lay down in the dirt, face in the dust, her beak pulsing in the dust. I tried to throw that part in, see what happens when I improv. Eventually, the little chicken got so low, she just laid down in the dirt, beak in the dust, and waited for something to change. She figured eventually she would just cease to exist. Eventually. Probably. But she didn't. And eventually the little chicken drifted off to sleep. When Henrietta woke up, she was being shuffled along with a broom. And that used to happen a lot, but it had been a while. And all the chickens in Henrietta's barn were outside for their segment of sun. She didn't read, but she noticed the sign that said free range, cage free. And also a little Charlotte's Web-ish spider web. I got the art wheels turning just for some future Easter eggs. There was a dark cloud over the sun, and everything was gloomy. I'm going to have a note here that maybe it's titled something like, the little chicken decides to act as if she is the decider. But I think that's the part I'm supposed to show you and not tell you. Yeah, because it's in caps. That's how my brain works, my aunt. Yes, indeed. Anyway, forget I said that. Henrietta decided she would try chasing one of the other bigger hens again, thinking at least she felt bigger then, and having a sudden flash of courage and curiosity and confidence, the magic 3 C's of coherence and choosing, without overthinking it. She was merely just a chicken after all. She gathered herself, imagining for the very first time what it might be like to flap her wings and actually fly. Not just float or flutter around the yard, but actually fly in the sky as she'd seen some of the small blackbirds outside the yard do. In that instant, Henrietta realized she was in the air. She had been running and flapping, and in that instant moment of imagining that what it would feel like to fly, she had leapt a little into the air, and there she found herself. It was only a split second, or maybe 3 split seconds, but it was also an eternity. Everything shifted slightly in the little chicken that day. She decided she would pretend for a while that she was the decider in her life, about how her life would be. She began to experience many more thoughts and feelings in many sorts. Many of them felt good, and many of them felt pretty shitty. She began running and flying and fluttering short distances regularly. She got stronger, and she started to watch those blackbirds that flew so high in the blue sky, so free, imagining how that could be. One day, Henrietta was watching 2 blackbirds soaring in an air current playfully and imagining what that might feel like. And suddenly she realized there was another hen in front of her who was looking at her. Gawk. The 2 hens looked at each other's eyes, and instantly they knew something of the other. They both realized at the same time that the other had been watching those blackbirds, and at the same time they both had the realization that the other hen must also be thinking and feeling, and also be a decider of some sort, at least, to some degree. And they glanced at one another sideways. Oh. Chickens don't really talk in human words, but if they did, they would have been saying like, wow, hey, do you see what I see? Neat. These 2 hens both decided to become friends. Thank you for sharing this experience with me. As I mentioned, literally that was the first time I've ever read that. I just wrote it. I feel like I translated it from the universe. That was part 2. I'm excited to see how part 3 goes. I have an idea, but I don't really know. Nobody knows, unless you're also writing your own version, but yours will be a little different from mine. Ooh, I'm excited. Let me know what you think, and look for the finished version, because by now, if you're seeing this out in the ether or the universe, there's a good chance that I've already published the book, although there's also a chance I haven't yet. You don't know, do ya? Neither do I. Isn't that exciting? Check out the description to find ways you can support me and my creative endeavors and my creativity. I'm just out here living in a musical. And so are you now. Hey, say hi. Ciao for now.